Well, Matt Sterbenz, it's you again. We actually just wrapped up a really nice conversation. We wrapped up a second cup of tea, but we weren't done. We saved a little something that we're going to talk about right now, which is a bit of a big unveil of actually a fairly big ski that we're currently looking at. So why don't you tell us about this new thing that I guess has pretty much received its debut at the Blister Summit, or maybe it's been on the road a little bit. I don't know. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, well, Jonathan, is my honor and privilege to introduce the Reason 120. This is a ski that maybe some of the listeners would remember when we talked back in, I guess, launch or post-launch about how my intentions were to survey the team of ambassadors that we lined up to what would you want out of a wider ski without using wider, because I thought that was already understood, that there's no other reason why I'd be asking them for feedback if it wasn't about making an ultimate pow slaying ski. Well, unfortunately, they all came back with kudos on, yeah, you're right, we should make a narrower ski. And I was like, this isn't good. This isn't good for me. Not a good look. I missed, I thought that everybody was so on board that I didn't even dare articulate that we were actually wondering, should we go wider or narrower? So everybody unanimously came back and was like, yeah, you should make a narrower ski. It's going to be lighter weight, be more nimble. It'll cater to a broader audience. I'm like, wow, that is such a more mature, well thought out thought process than I was having, which was completely selfish. I just wanted to get on a fat ski and ski deep powder on as steep a face as the snow will allow. And so I just kind of had to tuck in and kind of allow the process to take its course. And I'm delighted with the outcome, of course, The Vital's been an awesome ski. But I've been talking all along about how we were going to build 3 shapes to support kind of the seasonal cycle of snow patterns that we see throughout the course of a winter, right? We want a ski that's going to get things rolling in the fall. We need a ski that's going to support the deep and heavy days. And then we're going to need a ski that's going to perform higher alpine when the snowpack condenses. Yeah. And until now, we haven't had that deep winter. We just got a dump. I want to climb up to the nearest mountain and ski a line T to B and get some snow on my face. And now we have that. And I literally did that today. And
you skied these today?
Yeah. Well, I lie. I didn't get to ski these today. Eric Friesen got to ski these today.
Our reviewer, Eric Friesen, skied these today.
Yeah. And so we climbed up about 2,000 feet, found a nice treed aspect, north facing, nice snow, and he had a shit-eating grin on his face, knuckle punch, and just watched the vapor trails behind him. And then caught up with him at our rendezvous point, and he was just super hyped. And I was on my 92 intention full rockers. I was having a fine time too. But man, I was jealous of what he was running. And so this has been the first place, here in CB to we pressed these skis, and then 24 hours later we were on the road here. They literally they got measured, weighed, stamped, drilled, mounted, thrown in the van. We left Salt Lake at 6 o'clock. And none of that stuff had happened before that day. So,
wow. Brand new.
They were hot still. And here we are. And so it's been cool to share this ski also with the attendees, because now we're not only debuting a brand new ski and having this great opportunity to talk to you about it, but also we're getting consumer feedback instantly.
Yeah.
And so, Pep and I have taken in a lot of, reward for that, honestly, because it was kind of Pep's brainchild. He worked with Logan Imlock, shouts to Logan, on the shape, and then our engineering team at WNDR Alpine really put a lot of work into massaging the shape to also fit the mold to look apart with the other skis that we have. There's similar tip geometries, There's similar rocker radiuses, and we still also offer the Reason 120 in both the cambered and full reverse camber profile. So we're sticking with that trend of having that kind of optionality based on your preference, right? Of course, we made the first round in the preference that we had, which was reverse camber. But I also recall like favorably skiing skis of this geometry, similar to this geometry, with a bit of camber underfoot, also being really good. Very responsive. Like you definitely get a lot more like thrust out of the turn with a cambered ski, if that's what you're looking for, right? So we're excited to have the ski on the market for the 21-22 season. And this also like it's a kind of a big deal because it bookends our kind of trilogy of ski shapes.
Yeah.
You know, so this was kind of like a coming home with the full circle. You know, we wanted to be able to bring this ski to life in a properly synchronized way. And so, you know, we've made it this far. This is going to be our third year in the market. We're introducing our third ski. This ski also debuts a new tail block design, which has an integrated cradle for tail clips, which is making the skis even that much more intentional for backcountry use. Sounds like a simple thing, but anybody listening who builds skis knows that these tail blocks are not simple. They're very complex. Everything has to nest internally and externally and be durable and be functional. And it's just something that we've wanted to always improve upon year after year. And the reason, fortunately, entering into its first year is complete with that component as well. So while we have B Corp certification, we've got the Algal Tech platform. We now have our third ski to the market, and we've made some improvements to the function of the tail component. We're feeling really good about where we're at.
So I want to ask you some specifics, and maybe you don't know these specifics yet, but so you and or Pep have been skiing prototypes of this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there might still be a bit of tweaking in terms of dimensions or mount point, or do you feel like where are you with that?
I mean, in all honesty, these are prototypes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be changes made.
Okay.
These are kind of, we made a 120 for Pep to go to Japan with all of the Intention 110 look, like the graphic, everything.
Got it.
Because I had already sent Logan the brief that we're making a 120.
Right. The ski that you were starting when
and I got the survey back, and I was like, "Yo, Logan, we gotta pump the brakes. We're gonna go 100 and go all the way on 100." And he's like, "Serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we're gonna make one," because Pep had a Yuki shoot in Japan that he wanted a fatter platform, which fair. And so we got him one, and we just made it look like a 110.
Got it.
And so we did have a full year of him testing the initial shape geometry,
mm-hmm.
and we definitely made some improvements from that model. And so this is really representing third generation prototype, because we made another one in between then that primarily Pep just skied, and then we made this round. And so now that we have consumer feedback and we've been able to broaden our internal test pool, certainly there's going to be iterative changes. The delta between a good ski and a great ski is fairly significant, right? I mean, there's a variety of things that need to happen that really make a ski stand out. And so it can be just a small tweak here or there. Sometimes it's even just the tune out of the factory can make a ski really sing. But there's the balance of the weight. There's the balance of the geometry, side cut geometry with the camber profile. And then there's the stiffness profile, which I know you and I haven't had much time to talk about flex. But these need to fall in line with how we flex test other skis in the category as well as our own skis.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you take into consideration that all of those variables mount up to something greater than the sum, and that's ultimately the great ski goal, we still have a lot of work to do. But we're here.
Yeah.
We're on snow. We're shredding pow.
And Eric is alive and apparently happy.
Eric had a good day.
Yeah.
I won't put words in his mouth, but his smile was sustained.
But give me a little bit more specific in terms of, say, the Intention 110. Fair to say this is going to be a bit of a softer ski than the Intention 110?
For sure.
Okay. And what are you doing in terms of mount point? How traditional
mm-hmm.
or progressive are you getting in terms of the mount point with this thing?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's From recollection, I can state all the numbers, but it's probably going to confuse the listeners a bit. With the 100, our narrowest ski, that has the largest taper. I don't mean taper in terms of like blending the side cut geometry. I mean like the width and tail have the greatest disparity between one another. Those numbers come in a little bit on the 110. Both are mounted 7.5 back from center, 1 centimeter ahead of waist, the narrowest part of the geometry. We found the balance of our flex, of our camber, and our side cut, that those two skis ski best 1 centimeter ahead of waist. Now, introducing the 120. Softer flex, you brought that up. Indeed, softer flex. Wider surface area, right? You have a lot more force that you can distribute your weight and power of the turn. So certainly softer flex, certainly a higher elevation tip and tail, just so that we have that more buoyant tip float. We're also looking at tighter side cut, right? So in the past, we've talked about the narrower ski, the naturally more nimble. As they get wider, they need to become more shaped, shortening the turn radius so that the ski retains maneuverability when you go from soft, non-wind affected snow to like wind skim rib as you're making your descent. You know, all of a sudden you're in a turn and then boom, you hook onto some crust. That's enough to throw you back seat, cross the shoulder, downfall line. So being able to work with the ski in that balance is really important to us. Ultimately, we want the ski to have playfulness in the deep powder. And to do that with maintaining a shorter side cut, we needed to narrow the disparity between the tip and tail was even more so. So these skis, it's a 147, 120, 141. There's only 6 mils of taper in that geometry.
Yeah.
Now, Grant, I know you're not a huge fan of side cut taper. These have a bit more of a gradual taper angle where the side cut blends to reverse side cut in the tip and tail. Intentional, because we want that ski to smear its turn and not always be looking to hook.
Yep.
But,
by the way, my statement on that is I think there is more of a place for tip and tail taper the wider that ski is getting. That's just as a generalization.
Mm-hmm.
So if this thing is going to go to 130 or 138, like the wider you're getting that underfoot platform, the more I think you can taper the tip and tail, or you're going to have a like unbelievable swing weight to deal with on that ski. So
right.
I'm not mad at taper in all ways, but when we go into really skinny stuff that's wild tapered, it's like you're just making twitch sticks, you know? So that's kind of my take on it. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And that's where you can center the weight, the mass of the ski underfoot, so that you don't have those big geometries way out tip and tail, for sure. And then you brought up the point of mount point, which is like this ski is definitely a lot further forward because there's only 6 millimeters of taper to the tip, waist, and tail geometry. So we've actually recommended so far to mount the ski at the waist, which is minus 5.5 from true center.
Okay.
So we're further forward on them. We're further forward on the platform. We've got more taper in the recurve of the side cut geometry. We have much less disparity in the geometry's width from tip to tail. And we have a softer general flex with higher tip and tail heights. So I think that means playfulness.
Yeah.
I think it's an overused word, but playfulness indeed I think is what you're going to experience this ski compared to the intention.
Okay. Yeah, and certainly if we want to look at a 120 and locate it a little bit in terms of like a playfulness, a spectrum of like playful to kind of directional charger. In that sense, when you're talking about a -5 mount point, it sounds like we're more into the territory of a playful POW ski as opposed to just a big mountain gun where we just care about like straight line ability, like super crazy trackability, stability. It's like you want this to be a little easier going, a little more fun, stand upright on it. It's not a -11 mount point ski that you're just driving it, you know, to murder the mountain.
Yeah, we had a descent yesterday coming down Red Lady and here in CB, and it was just wind and sun affected crust. And
were you on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on the 191. We make it in an 84, as well as a 77 and a 170. Okay, so I'm on the 91. I'm on the big gun, right? Full rocker. I mean, we toured up for a couple hours. Great open shot from the top. But then we started getting into some not the right aspect terrain, right? Now we're facing southeast. We're starting to ski this like kind of breakable crust layer. Mm-hmm. And our guide had some like cool custom skis, flat tail. They looked a lot like early Mantras, almost like a vocal explosive lineage. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just like, tree trunk legs, but the legs are just like squirming, you could see his toenails like, and we're on these fatties, and I'm just like, I'm with Sam and we're just popping out of the crust and pivoting in the aspen groves, looking for shadowed terrain and like laughing and having a blast and just like being able to get in and out of snow like that and being able to get in and around like features in the terrain, like within the terrain, to sniff out those deeper turns. Like it was just a blast. It was a lot of fun, super forgiving. And it didn't feel like it was that much different than the skis that I have been skiing recently. So that probably for me was like the biggest, like, few. Like this isn't like a total departure from what we've been making. It's just one iterative advancement towards deeper, funkier snow where you want to like, I was inspired like, hey, dude, like maybe we jump off this mine road and toss it backy. Like this thing like would like actually like flex into that like, that road cut and give us the pop that we want. Sometimes the ski's too stiff, like it's just gonna like whammy, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna load into that tight radius and then just like rebound so much and you're just gonna like get thrown out of a window. These skis would probably just like take that bank and just like, let's go upside down. And let's stomp too, because we're like 147 in the shovel. Yeah. And that's what we do. Stop it. So it's been fun. I mean, I think it also like kind of puts an exclamation point on what we're like projecting as a backcountry brand, prioritizing the down. I mean, there was a lot of talk that we've heard and seen in the space about the sacrifices we're giving up on performance to like make up for the weight of like a bottle of water in your backpack. And like a ski like this, it's gonna come in heavier. It's 2,100 grams right now. We love to get it below 2,000 grams. It's gonna take some creativity, I mean, there's a lot of things now being a B Corp entity that we need to be mindful of. We can't just take the next greatest polluting material that's super lightweight and super, responsive for potential composite laminate like this. So we're going to look at ways that we can interrogate the construction to lighten it up a little bit. But ultimately, like we're building a rad ski that skis tremendously well for downhill, and it's got a lot of playfulness to it already. And I'm not mad about the weight going up right now. Mm-hmm. And I put heavy bindings on my skis too because I'm a little bit bigger guy.
Well, hey man, appreciate you debuting this ski. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to getting on it. Also looking forward to wrangling up Eric Friesen and getting his take on the day. But it's cool. And it is really funny. I remember we were sitting, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, time flies, but we were sitting in Blister headquarters and you were sort of hinting at this wide ski that you were like, this is how we're going to launch this new company. You're like, well, it kind of got vetoed a bit. And it's like, well, you've managed to still get your way. It took a little time, but you've managed to get your way. So, congrats.
Yeah, man. Feels good to be delivering my promise.
Well, hey, thanks. Thanks for sharing and telling us a bit about this thing. And cool to see the trilogy rounded out.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us be here.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.